Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Okay guys, so this is a new GoPro. Well, okay, actually this is a case, but inside of this is a new GoPro. And there's a thing about GoPros is I don't buy them that often, but I use them a lot. And that's because they're expensive, right? And they are robust, therefore they last a long time. Therefore, I don't need to buy them very often. So this is my current GoPro. This is a GoPro 7. And I've had this for about 3 years. This is another GoPro. This is also a GoPro 7. And I've had this for about 3 years. I bought these when I was in the south of France. If you look on my channel, you'll see a video of me driving a Boxster, my old Porsche Boxster, up a mountain called the D2. And I bought these GoPros for that video. I mean, I needed new GoPros, but I had a GoPro 4 at the time, and I needed some new ones because it was getting a little bit old. So I had a GoPro 4, then I had 2 GoPro 7s, and now I have a GoPro 10. Now, one of the pet peeves of the GoPro is that you invest a lot of money in the camera, and it comes with a battery and a cable, like the new one here. You've got a camera, a battery inside the camera, and a cable to charge it, right? But when you're using the GoPro, very often it runs out of power. You don't have time to charge it, you just need to switch out the battery. And herein lies the problem. I recently just spent a considerable amount of money expanding my battery collection for my GoPro 7s. Here's a little battery for a GoPro 7. Now, when I looked at the GoPro 10, I thought, I wonder if they've changed the battery size again, because in successive GoPros, they changed the shape of the battery, and therefore you can't use the old batteries in the new cameras. I know it's a small thing, but it's just a peeve that I have, which makes me not want to upgrade cameras very often. So when I looked at the battery for the GoPro 10, I was excited because it looks just like the battery in the GoPro 7. Here's the GoPro 7 battery, and here's the GoPro 10 battery. They look very similar, don't they? They are very similar, but they're not the same. So when I tried to put the new GoPro battery into my new GoPro 7 charger, it didn't fit. So, of course, now I have like 15 batteries for my GoPro 7s, because especially when I do those road trips from the UK to Italy, I don't have time to charge the batteries. I have one night where I charge all the batteries, and I use batteries constantly. They last about an hour. These batteries last about 1 hour. And if you think about it, I'm doing a 18-hour trip, and I have one night to charge the batteries. So I need a lot of batteries. The best way, the more batteries, the better. You're not gonna get caught short, right? So now I have a GoPro 10. And in this GoPro 10, I have this single battery. So what I decided to do, again, is to buy some more batteries. So I did just that. However, the batteries for the GoPro are quite expensive. I think they're about £25, which is about $35 each. Now, if you go to Amazon, there are tons and tons of batteries, generic batteries, obviously all made in China, and you can buy them with a charger, which is what this is. This came with 3 batteries. I bought 2 of them. Where's the other one? It's here. I bought 2 of them, and so I got 6 batteries plus the ones I already had, and they do just fine. But it got me to thinking: are the generic batteries as good as the GoPro batteries that we pay more for, right? They always tell you to buy proper batteries. Well, I just bought some generic batteries and a charger, and I thought, why not plug in the battery for the GoPro 10, the official GoPro battery and one of the generic batteries. We'll charge them both up and we'll do a test and see how long each battery lasts. What did I do? So I took the charger that came, the generic charger that came with the batteries, and I placed a generic battery and the GoPro battery in that charger, and I left it to charge fully. One of the things that happened is the GoPro battery took considerably longer to charge than the generic battery. Now, I don't know what the state of charge was on either battery when I took them out of the box, so it could just be simply that one battery had more of a dry charge in it than the other. Unless I continuously do it, I don't really know if it means anything. Anyway, I got them both charged. Then I set the GoPro to, I think it was 50 frames per second, 4K, and so the settings were the same for both batteries. That's the important thing to note. Now, to get a longer lifetime out of your battery, regardless of which battery you have, what you could do is minimize the settings, like the hyper smooth settings and stuff like that. They take extra power from the battery to process that because they do it in camera. So if you're using it, like for instance, the way I do when I have it in the car, fixed in the car while I'm talking to the camera, you can turn that stuff off, you don't need it. But anyway, I left some of it on. There's more settings in GoPro 10 for that kind of thing. I set it to the minimum setting. So then what I did is I took it while I was in work, I set it up outside on the deck. There was a nice breeze. I put the GoPro on top of the GoPro 10 camera case, and I set up my Canon camera behind on a tripod, and I recorded how long it took, just so I've got footage for this. One of the things to remember is every time I touch this, because as you probably know, on a GoPro, when it starts recording after 30 seconds, the screen turns off. So every now and then I had to check to see if it was still going and to see what the state of the battery was. So every time I touched the back of the screen to make the screen come on, it would affect the battery life somewhat. I'd see it drop a percentage or two straight away. So that's something to remember throughout the test. Okay, so the first battery that I used was the generic battery. I left it running outside, and I left my camera, my Canon camera, and I went back to it periodically and checked the progress. I formatted the card inside before I started the test, and let's see the results. It should also be noted that the batteries are actually a slightly different shape again. So the generic batteries actually from a GoPro 9, and the GoPro battery is obviously from the GoPro 10. Now, it doesn't affect the use of that battery in the GoPro 10, but I suspect, based on the shape, because I never owned a GoPro 9, that the GoPro 10 battery will not fit in the GoPro 9 camera. So that's something to note. That difference in shape must be for a reason. I'm assuming that the shape of the camera for the GoPro 9 is rounded, and therefore they've made it square to prevent that battery being put in the older GoPro. The generic battery lasted for just under 1 hour, 5 minutes, which is a good amount of time for a battery. The fact is that the new battery is bigger than the old one, but the new GoPro has two screens. It has a front-facing screen and a back-facing screen. And I would imagine that's why they have a bigger battery, because it's got more features. So the batteries don't seem to last any longer than the old batteries in the old GoPro. So the generic battery lasted 1 hour, 4 minutes and change. Okay, so then when I finished that test, I left, because the GoPros get quite hot when you use them for a long period of time like that. So I left it outside to cool down for about 30 minutes. So to touch it was cold again before I started the second test. Second test obviously is with the GoPro battery, which was fully charged. And I set that with all the same settings in the camera, and I set that to record next. Now, one of the things to bear in mind is, because I had an approximate time of how long the battery was going to last, I didn't go back as frequently to check on it. And the reason why I mention that is because it means that every time I touch the screen, like I said earlier, every time I touch the screen, turn the screen on, a couple of percentages would drop from the battery charge. So I didn't do that in the second round. I just went back towards the end and I checked to see how it was doing. So if I'd left the generic battery and not turned the screen back on at all, it may have lasted a little bit longer. I don't think it would last much longer though. We're talking probably half a minute, maybe a minute. And one other thing that happened whilst I was doing this test is when I started to record with the GoPro battery, I had an SD card error, and it happened 2 times. The first time I just reset the camera and started record again. The second time I had to format the card, which took a couple of seconds, so that when I actually finally got round to filming or starting to record with the battery the second time, the battery level was on 98%. So it was very slightly discharged. So I didn't have it at full 100%, but it's a very marginal difference. All right, so when I went back approximately an hour later to the GoPro with the GoPro battery in it, it was on approximately 1 hour. As you can see from the footage, I don't remember exactly as I record this what the numbers were, but I remember going back and it was about 30-something% of the battery left at the same point when the original battery died. And then it went on to run for about 1 hour and 20 minutes, I think it was. So it was a good performance. It was better than the generic battery, which I expected, to be honest. Was that about 20% better? I think to really flesh it out, you'd have to really do this run 3 or 4 times, continuously charging the batteries and depleting them and stuff, because the batteries do get better after the first couple of charges. But we can see that approximately the generic battery lasts about an hour and the GoPro battery from new lasts about 1 hour 20. Now, obviously, the more times you recharge it over time, the less it will hold until you get to a point where it just doesn't hold its charge anymore. But out of the box, the GoPro battery is, as I expected, is better. But the generic battery, considering the difference in price, I think I paid 39 euros and I got a charger and 3 batteries, as opposed to 25 euros for 1 GoPro battery with no charger. So if I wanted to charge an external charger as well, I'd need to spend whatever amount that is for that charger. So it is a considerable saving on the GoPro battery, but the GoPro battery gives you, 20% more time. Now, if you wanted to use your GoPro to record continuously for a long period of time, then obviously the way to go is to get a generic GoPro battery. But most people don't use GoPros in that way. Most people use them where they turn them on, they do something for a few minutes, then they turn them off again. And that's what I do in the car. When I drive from here to the UK, I'm not filming the entire time. So I switch them on and when I want to talk, and then I switch them off afterwards. But anyway, guys, there you go. There's the result. It's not a scientific test by any means. I just wanted to get an idea of what kind of performance I was getting from a generic battery versus a GoPro battery, to see if it was worth spending the extra money on the GoPro batteries, remembering that they don't last forever. And what I found is that for me, I don't think it's worth paying. Like if I wanted to buy those 3 batteries, if I bought 3 GoPro batteries, you're looking at 75 euros plus a charger, let's say 20 euros. You're looking at 100 versus 40. And I think that is a pretty good deal. And don't forget, if I bought more generic batteries, I don't need to buy another charger. So I think it's a pretty decent deal. And like I said, I think an hour is plenty of time for what I need it for. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap up here. I just thought this would be an interesting little test. If you're about to go ahead and buy a GoPro, maybe it's something that you were thinking about too. I didn't do any specs on the new GoPro and stuff because there's a million videos out there already on that subject. So if you want to know more about the GoPro 10, then there are lots of videos out there. If it's something you want to see me do, then maybe I'll do that at a future date. But anyway, guys, I'll wrap up. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.